You sit in the dark, lit only by the red-blue pulse of a dying siren. There's no wind, no movement, just that low hum, just that static, just that feeling in your chest that something has gone terribly wrong. Your hands rest on the steering wheel, but you don't remember how they got there. You glance at the rearview mirror not to see what's behind you, but to make sure you're still real. Your reflection stares back, half shrouded in shadows, eyes tired, mouth dry. You've been here before, haven't you? You look around. A narrow two-lane road stretches out before you, winding into the fog. The trees lean a little too far toward the asphalt, as if eavesdropping. A crow lands on the yellow line and stares straight at you, tilting its head. But it doesn't blink. Adjust your radio. The dispatch crackles, but no voices come through. Just static. You remember what your partner once told you. Graveyard shift stories aren't just ghosts or crazies. Sometimes it's the silence that gets you, the kind of quiet that listens back. And tonight is one of those nights. You step out of the cruiser. Gravel crunches beneath your boots. The air tastes like rain and iron. Somewhere behind the tree line, you think you hear breathing, but it's too rhythmic, too steady, too patient. You pull your flashlight, but the beam only reaches a few feet before the mist swallows it. There's a call still open on your laptop. It's been running for 27 minutes. Unknown disturbance, rural road. Caller hung up. No name, but something's out here. And you're not alone. Unit 12, responding. You whisper into your radio. Nothing answers except for that static. And deep in your chest, you realize something. You've crossed into a place stories are born from. The kind they don't put in official reports. The kind officers only speak of when the coffee is gone. When the eyes are red. When the clock reads 3:17 a.m. and no one wants to check the back seat. These are the stories that find you long after you've stopped patrolling. Stories that breathe and remember you. So you take one more step into the mist, and the trees lean closer. A lone deputy investigates a series of mysterious calls from a remote farmhouse where a woman keeps appearing in the window. Even though the house is supposed to be empty, you're dispatched to the edge of nowhere. It's 2:37 a.m., the kind of hour that drips slowly through time. You pass a tangle of narrow roads, gravel crunching under your tires. The fog clings low, a stubborn presence that won't lift. Your headlights only make it worse, siege beams slicing through haze like light through milk. Asterisk dispatch repeats the address. You've already been here twice this week. Same report. Same neighbor calling it in. Asterisk, the house is supposed to be empty, foreclosed, owned by the bank, power cut last month. But every time the neighbor walks her dog at night, she swears she sees someone watching from the second floor. You pull up to the old farmhouse. No lights inside. No car in the drive. Just that same sagging front porch and a mailbox that hangs, open like a mouth mid-scream. You step out, gravel crunching beneath your boots. Low ambient hum, faint wind through tall grass. Siren whoops in the distance, far off. The neighbor Mrs. Daly meets you at the edge of her property. Bathrobe tight around her, hair like white smoke. She's there again, she whispers. Second window. On the left, just standing there. You glance up. Nothing, just peeling shutters and the faint reflection of your cruiser's red-blue flash on dusty glass. I swear, she continues. I saw her, pale as paper, just looking out, like she knew I'd be here. You nod, not dismissively, not entirely believing either. You grab your flashlight, up the porch steps, wood creaks beneath your weight. The door gives way without resistance. It's always been open. Inside, the air is stale, damp, the kind of cold that gets into your bones. Dust motes hang in the air, swirling in your beam. The place smells of rot and wet wood. You climb the stairs. Each step protests. You remember the layout. 3 rooms up top, 1 bathroom. That window second on the left belongs to what used to be a child's bedroom. You reach it. The door is ajar. You push, it opens with a soft click. That old door latch still catching. On nothing, the room is empty. No bed, no curtains, no light fixtures, just a pale outline where the wallpaper peeled in the shape of a rocking horse. You cross to the window. Outside, Mrs. Daly is still there, watching. You wave. She doesn't wave back. Instead, she points, not at you but above you. The static crackles, faint hiss through the radio. Your name whispered and gone. You spin. Behind you, nothing. But something is different. You look again, and that's when you notice the dust on the floor. Everywhere except for one perfect outline. Bare feet, small, like a child's, standing. Still in the center of the room. You step back. Hard thud of your own heartbeat echoing in your ears. Your flashlight flickers once, then Sate, Adies. Done, you hear it. Kriya, her, Kriya. From the room across the hall. The nursery, you follow the sound. The door is shut. You didn't shut it. You didn't even check it. But now it's closed tight. You reach for the knob. Cold metal stings your palm. You push Dot inside. It's darker than it should be. No windows in this room. Your beam catches the glint of something metal. A rocking chair, moving, Dot empty. But moving. You scan the rest of the room. In the corner, scrawled into the wallpapers, a single word, MOM, mem repeated, over and over, in tiny, shaky lettering. You turn back to the chair. It stopped. On the seat something new. A child's dress, folded, clean, but you can still see the faded rust of blood along the seams. Your radio crackles again. Unit 12. Advise. Did you make contact? You fumble for your mic. Speak low. No one here. Just checking. We'll call back. The static never stops. As you exit the house, you glance back once more at the window. She's there. This time you see her. Pale, long hair. Eyes black as void, but not looking out. Looking down at you then. She's gone, gone. Ooh, book a man for vagrants so quiet, barefoot and dripping wet. Hours later, the crying starts from an empty holding cell, the one he was never placed in. It's just after 4 a.m. The station is still, except for the hum of overhead lights and the tick of the wall clock. You've been on shift since sundown, counting minutes between reports. Paperwork piles. Coffee goes cold. You think the night might finally be winding down. Then he walks in, soaking wet, barefoot, wearing only jeans, no shirt, hair matted, eyes blank. He says nothing, just stands in the lobby, breathing like he walked out of a lake. The desk officer buzzes you. You're the only one available. Found him wandering behind the Shell station, she says. Didn't resist, just stood there. You approach. His skin is pale blue, lips trembling, but not from cold. He looks through you, not at you. You try to question him. Name, address, any ID. He just says one thing. Don't put me in 3. You glance at the holding cells. There are 4. All empty. All right, you reply. We'll do the paperwork first. You hand him a towel. He doesn't take it. You drape it over his shoulders. He flinches at the touch. Your partner logs him in as John Doe. No priors. No hits on his fingerprints. You put him in cell 1, away from the others. He sits silent. An hour passes. Then the crying starts. It's soft, at first, barely audible. Low sobbing, echoing faintly from down the hall. You walk past the holding cells. Cell 1, silent. He's sitting on the bench, staring at the wall. The crying is louder now, coming from cell 3. You check. It's empty. No one's been in there all week. You radio back. Any other detainees brought in tonight? Negative. You unlock cell 3. It's cold inside, much colder than the others. The air smells faintly. Metallic. You scan every corner. Nothing. No hidden speaker. No open vent. Just a blank bench and a steel toilet. Then you see it. Scratched into the back wall, dozens of names. Some faded, some deep at the bottom of the wall. Fresh marks. 3 lines. 1 cross. Like someone was counting days or victims. You close the door, return to the front. Everything all right? Your partner asks. You hesitate, then nod. The crying continues for the next hour. Always from cell 3. Always while the man in cell 1 sits motionless. You decide to question him again. Why'd you say not to put you in 3? He looks up, first time all night. Eyes wide, not scared, terrified, because she's still in there. The static never stops. You ask, who's she? He whispers. The one who waits in the dark. She doesn't like to be alone. You glance. Back cell 3's door is ajar. You don't remember opening it. Inspect footprints. Bare feet, but not his size. Smaller. A deputy investigates reports of underwater lights from a remote Demonley to discover evidence of an entire town drowned and forgotten, but not empty. You drive west, past the main roads and into the canyon. Dispatch, says someone reported. Strange lights moving under the water again at Harper's Dam. It's your 3rd call this month. Locals claim a town was flooded there. Back in the 1960s, they like to tell stories. Church steeples below the surface. Graveyards never dug up. Power lines still humming beneath the depths. You don't buy most of it, but you go because that's what you do. The dam stands massive against the starlit sky. The water is glass. No wind. Just your cruiser's rumble and the chirp of crickets. You park, grab your flashlight. As you near the edge, you see it, a flicker. Then another, blue-green light pulses under the surface. Slowly, moving, spiraling, like someone is dancing far beneath. Then you hear it. Music, soft. Organ, echoing as if from a distant hall. You scan the tree line. No boats, no people. Just water, the static never stops. You circle down the old path, following the bank. Find an abandoned shack, used to be a ranger station. It creaks in the wind. You open the door. Inside, the walls are covered in old maps and dam reports. One pinned page stands outdated 1961. Church relocation project cancelled. You shine your light into the corner. A model, built by hand, of a town. Main Street, a chapel, a graveyard, and at the edge, a tiny sign. Welcome to Winslow. You realize something. This is what's under the lake. Exactly this. You take a picture. Suddenly, water starts seeping beneath the floorboards. Fast, too fast. You bolt outside. The music has grown louder. Underwater now, the lights begin to rise. A circle, then a face. Pale, bloated, looking straight up at you. Its mouth opens. But there's no scream. Only the music. You run, get back to the cruiser. Drive later that night. You look through your photos. They're all black, except one, the model of the town. And in the window of the chapel, a woman standing, watching. You arrive on scene with a sense of déjà vu. Though you've never been here before, the street is older, cracked and worn, and the house in question sits at the very end alone, hunched like it's hiding a secret. It doesn't appear on Google Maps. The department's property files have nothing. No permit history, no previous calls. The dispatcher just marked it anonymous concern. Yet there it stands, quiet under the dull orange haze of the sodium streetlight. You step out of the cruiser and feel the chill immediately, not from the air, but from the silence. No crickets, no wind, just that hum, the low, ever-present hum you can't quite place. The static never stops. The porch creaks beneath your boots, and even before you knock, the door opens slightly. Inside is darkness, complete, consuming. You flick on your shoulder torch and announce yourself. No answer, but there's a sound, now. Not a voice, something softer, like pages turning. Or maybe whispers from somewhere just around the next wall. You take a step inside. The first thing you notice is the smell. Old books, mildew, and something metallic like blood that's dried long ago. The wallpaper peels in long strips, revealing something beneath it. Symbols. No, shapes. Shapes that almost look like faces. You shine the light across the hallway and find family portraits hanging crooked on the wall. Each one is wrong in a different way. The eyes are too far apart. The smiles curve the wrong direction. One has no mouth at all. You blink, and they're normal again. You keep moving. The floor dips as you pass into the kitchen. There are fresh dishes on the counter, half-eaten cereal, a spoon still dripping milk. Someone was here, very recently, and then you hear it. A creak upstairs. You draw your weapon and call out. Still no answer, but someone, something, walks heavily across the floor above you. The ceiling dust shifts. You take the stairs slowly, every creak louder than it should be. At the top, there's only one door closed. The bedroom at the end. You press your ear to it. Silence, then a sigh. Not yours. You push the door open. The room is empty. No furniture, no windows, just four walls. And the figure of a child drawn, crudely on the far wall in black charcoal, over and over again, sometimes with arms, sometimes with none, sometimes with fangs. You close the door behind you. It slams shut on its own. The handle won't turn behind you. The drawn figures begin to shift. Their eyes follow you. One smiles wider. You slam your fist against the door. You shout for backup into the radio, but only static replies. You're trapped. And now the drawn child has stepped off the wall. His eyes are empty, and he reaches for you. It's just past 2 a.m. when the call comes through. A report of a woman screaming in the woods near an old rest stop. Long abandoned and now more home to foxes and trash than travelers. You check the logs. Nothing has come through from this area in weeks. But the dispatcher insists. Caller sounded panicked. Then the line dropped. You get there in under 10 minutes. There's no one in sight. Just rusting picnic tables, cracked pavement, and graffiti-tagged bathrooms with doors hanging by hinges. You park, kill the engine, and wait. Maybe someone will show. Then you hear it, a scream. Far off, high-pitched, female. You key the radio, but it only hisses at you. So you go in. The trees swallow you quickly. Even with your flashlight, the path disappears after only a few steps. But the screaming returns, closer this time. You run. Branches claw your arms. The air turns colder. The scream is constant now, looping, as if stuck on some terrible track. You reach a clearing dot, empty dot, but your flashlight flickers. And when it steadies, a woman is there, standing back turned, hair matted, clothes torn. She doesn't move. You call. To her, she doesn't respond. You step closer. Her head turns, but not in a human way. It rotates too far, too fast. Her mouth opens, but the scream doesn't match her lips. It's delayed. You back up. She steps forward. Suddenly, lights flash. In your face, a second cruiser has arrived. Your partner calls out. What the hell are you doing? You turn back. She's gone. You tell him what you saw. He looks around, confused. Then he says something that chills your blood. We've been trying to reach you. You never responded. The call you're talking about? That was closed. No one dispatched anything. You insist. The scream. The woman. The clearing. He shakes his head. There is no clearing. You're standing in the middle of a drainage ditch. And there's blood on your boots. You step out of the cruiser and into the hum of the fields. Damp night air brushing your skin like the breath of something ancient. It's 3:14 a.m. and dispatch has gone quiet again to quiet. You radio for a status check and it hisses back with nothing but static. The kind that buzzes not from technology but from some place deeper, like something's listening but refusing to speak. You park under the broken lamp off State Route 9, where the road vanishes into a thicket of thorny brush and hollow winds. The call came from here, an anonymous voice whispering, "There's a boy in the ditch, but he's not right. No name, no number, just the dot your boots pressed down on the damp gravel as you move toward the ditch, flashlight trembling slightly. In your grip not from fear exactly, but something close, anticipation, the sense that you're being watched. Every crackle of grass behind you, every sway of the trees makes you flinch just slightly, and the static never stops. The beam of your flashlight cuts through the fog. There's water in the ditch, not deep, just a slow, slick trickle of runoff, muddy, cold, reflective, and there just up ahead is the shape of something small, a bundle almost, or a body. The flashlight glances off, pale skin, a boy, curled like a comma, knees drawn to chest. No shirt, jeans soaked through. You call out, your voice taut but calm, no movement. You step closer. The boy's face is turned to the side, caked with dirt and something darker. His eyes are open, but he doesn't blink. You kneel slowly, calling again, a hand reaching out, and as your fingers touch his shoulder, he moves, not like a child startled awake, but like something rewinding, uncurling, stiff and deliberate. He turns his head toward you, and that's when you see it. His eyes aren't just open, they're completely black, not like a head injury, not like blown pupils, just black. You stumble backward, hand going for your belt. Not your weapon, not yet, but your radio, which is now buzzing, only buzzing. The boy rises without bending, no knees, No normal movement. He's on his feet now, and still staring. Then he opens his mouth, not to scream, not to speak, but to breathe. A sound like a dying signal surges from his throat, sharp, broken, rhythmic, like a broken modem or a machine trying to mimic a child's wail. It pulses in your chest, the pitch rising with your heartbeat. You call for backup, nothing you back toward your cruiser. The boy steps forward once, then vanishes. No flicker, no blur, just gone. Your flashlight beam flickers once, then stabilizes. The ditch is empty. You climb back into your cruiser. Lock the doors. Your radio crackles again, and this time a voice comes through. It's your own from earlier. There's a boy in the ditch. And then click. Dispatch finally checks in, calm as ever, asking if you responded to the call. Near Route 9, you tell them what you saw. They ask what time it happened. You check your watch. It hasn't moved since. 3:14 a.m., you turn the key in the ignition and drive slowly back toward the station. But the static never stops, and the seat behind you isn't empty. You've been on call long enough to stop flinching when the radio crackles. But tonight, even before the transmission ends, you know this one will sit in your bones. Unit 7. Check out the abandoned farm off County Road 12. Caller reported strange lights inside the old grain silo. No one should be out there. You repeat the address back, but the dispatcher doesn't reply, just static, and beneath it, almost imperceptible, the faint sound of breathing, not yours, not theirs. A third rhythm. You keep driving. The road narrows. The trees creep closer, and your headlights struggle against the dark. On your right, the silhouette of the silo rises like a finger pressed against the sky tall, rusted, skeletal. It's been abandoned for years. Everyone knows that. But still, the locals swear they see people there. Shadows moving across the broken slats. Lights flickering through the top like fireflies caught in a jar. You pull onto the gravel shoulder and kill the engine. The night exhales. Your boots crunch the frost-hardened grass as you step into the field. You shine your flashlight toward the silo, its round frame leaning just slightly to the left. A warped metal door hangs open at the base. Nothing unusual for an old site like this, except the latch was rewelded by county maintenance 3 months ago. You remember? You were here then, too. You radio again. Still nothing. The static never. Stop inside. Your light catches on dust motes and warped beams. The interior smells like mold, old oil and copper. You sweep the floor with your light. Nothing. Then the first light, not yours. It flickers high above, near the apex of the silo like a strobe, erratic and colorless. Not red, not blue, not yellow, just wrong. You climb the central ladder, each rung echoing louder than the last. The sound bouncing up and up until it vanishes into a kind of mechanical silence. Halfway up, the beam of your flashlight crosses a face, pale, still, watching you from the sidewall. No ladder, no foothold, just suspended. It blinks. You scramble up the rest of the way, heart hammering at the top. The lights return, not just one, a ring of them, circling slowly around the inner dome like a carousel. They cast long shadows across the grain walls, some shaped like men, some not. One of the lights descends. Not a bulb, not a drone, a sphere, no bigger than a grapefruit, humming softly. It floats in front of you, perfectly still, reflecting your face back in impossible details, too tired, lips cracked, badge number etched perfectly in reverse. You try to back up. The ladder is gone, not broken, just not there. Your feet are now on solid wood, a platform. You didn't see it before. You don't remember stepping onto it. The sphere moves closer. Then you hear voices. Children, a woman, then a scream, then silence. You blink. The sphere is gone. The lights go out. You're back at the bottom. Standing at the silo entrance, boots soaked in dew, hand on your flashlight, and in your other hand, you're holding your radio. It's melted, just soft plastic and a single word, scratched into the back of the casing. Remember, you walk to your cruiser in silence. Behind you, in the window slats of the silo, the lights flicker one last time, then vanish. You drive back to town, slower than usual. You don't log the call, but every few nights, when the static swells, you still see the sphere in your rearview mirror. The call comes in at 2:13 a.m. It's not routed through dispatch. No recorded number, no callback ID, just your cruiser's radio coming alive on its own, whispering through a thin veil of static. He's back. You freeze. Not because of what was said, but because the voice is familiar. You've heard it before, long ago, but it's impossible. That voice belonged to a girl found dead in '09. You remember the case. Everyone does. Your thumb hovers over the transmit button, but the channel falls silent before you speak. You sit in the cruiser, idling on the edge of town. The streets are empty. Fog curls like fingers across the blacktop. Streetlights flicker with no rhythm, no pattern, and just as you think it might be a dream, the radio cracks again. There, inside now. You flick on your headlights. The neighborhood ahead is one you've passed 1,000 times, identical two-story homes. Trimmed hedges, wind chimes swaying in empty wind. But tonight, the lights in the houses are off. All of them, curtains drawn. A quiet too deep. You roll slowly forward. At the fourth intersection, you see her, standing on the sidewalk. A little girl, maybe 8 years old, wearing a thin white dress. No shoes. Hair matted from rain or sweat. You brake hard. She doesn't move. Your window rolls down automatically. You didn't touch the switch. She speaks, but not to you. He can't find the pieces. You step out. Her eyes follow you, wide and unblinking. You reach for your radio again. It hisses not, static now, but a long, rattling breath. The girl tilts her head. Do you remember what you did? You stop cold. Your breath mists in the air. The ground beneath your boots feels soft to soft, like earth not meant for roads. The girl takes a step back into the fog and vanishes, just gone. You step forward, calling out, but the fog swallows. Your voice, your flashlight reveals footprints where she stood, but only one set dot yours. You get back in the cruiser. The seats are wet from inside, like someone's been sitting there, but the windows are dry. You flick on the dome light. There's writing on the windshield. On the inside, words traced in condensation with a small finger. Stop looking you, back the car away from the curb. Heart pounding, then your phone rings. Not the cruiser's console, your personal phone, the one you keep in the glove box, but it's powered off. It was powered off. Still, the screen glows. Caller unknown. You stare. It rings again. You answer. Silence. Then, please stop. It's your own voice. Not a recording, not a trick. Your exact voice. The inflection, the weariness. It even knows what you're wearing tonight. Then, a soft click. The line dies. You sit motionless. Engine humming low. From the corner of your eye, something moves. You turn fast, just the rearview mirror, but in it, you see yourself, sitting in the back seat, eyes closed, mouth moving, but you're not saying anything. You slam the mirror upward, open the door, step into the fog, but this time the houses are different, the street names are wrong, the cruiser is gone. You're still holding the radio, it's cold now, too cold, and it says one final thing. Just before dying, we told you not to answer. You open your mouth to speak, but all that escapes is a whisper. You arrive at the station just past midnight. The rain has eased into a mist, and the roads glisten like black ice under the streetlights. Your boots track water across the cracked linoleum as you clock in, scan the board, and find your name, pinned next to a call that was logged, but never closed. Unfinished business, room 14B. You recognize the address. It's the old juvenile courthouse that was decommissioned last year. Half the windows are boarded up. The rest are covered in soot and stories, some whispered, some buried. And now, something from there is calling again. You don't question it. You're used to these types of entries. Some calls hang in the system like cobwebs, ignored but never resolved. The static never stops. You take the cruiser alone. The city blurs by in quiet streaks of sodium light, and your tires hiss against the damp pavement as you pull onto the forgotten court block. No one's around. Not even a raccoon scuttles by. Just you, the cruiser, and room 14 bite. The building looms. Its bones creak with the kind of silence that's louder than sound. You step through the broken frame of the side door, flashlight in hand. Inside, water drips from the ceiling tiles like a broken metronome, and the courtroom benches sit still, as though waiting for judgment that never came. You pass rusted file cabinets, torn law books, a forgotten gavel lying on the ground, like a relic from a forgotten world, and then the glass. Room 14B was an observation chamber, a small room with a one-way mirror, once used to watch troubled youth through the glass while social workers whispered notes into clipboards. The light inside flickers, but there's no power in this building. You open the door anyway. The room smells like ozone and mold. The mirror is intact, perfect, too perfect. Your flashlight beam catches movement on the other side. You freeze, but no one is there, just rows of empty chairs, a dusty desk, a coat rack with no coat, and then it happens slowly. A shape appears behind the mirror, not reflected. Inside the mirror, it stands still. No features, just a human outline. Hazy, like breath fogged on glass. You move closer. It doesn't move. You knock on the mirror. Nothing, but when you turn to leave, you'll catch it again, standing right behind you, still behind the mirror, but closer now. Closer than it should be. You feel your breath catch. The static never stops. You whisper, "Who's there?" No reply. You take out your radio. There's no signal. You turn back toward the mirror, and now it's not one shape, it's 3 all standing in a line. No faces, no eyes, just silhouettes in that dark glass. Waiting. You step back. Your boot hits something. You shine your light down. A clipboard, old, covered in dust, but freshly disturbed. It has your name on it, and a note. Observe, but never look too long. You bolt. You don't remember running. Just the door swinging open. The hallway swallowing you, your breath ragged. Your legs carrying you out of the building without permission from your mind. Once you're outside, the mist feels like air again. But when you glance up at the second, Floor room 1-4B, they're still there, watching not through the glass, but through the window this time, closer, still not moving, still featureless. You turn the engine, you leave. You never log the report, but the call stays on the system, still open, still unresolved, because what you saw behind the glass wasn't part of any system you swore to serve. And somewhere inside your cruiser beneath the console, the clipboard remains. You never noticed before, but now you can't stop thinking about it. You glance into the rearview mirror, nothing there, but the shape lingers in your reflection, just for a second, and then it's gone. You're halfway through your shift when dispatch crackles in just static. At first, and then a voice, faint, warped, like it's coming from underwater. Unit 12, respond to 197. Possible 10 to 96. You blink, 10 to 96. Mentally disturbed subject. But that strange mile marker 197 is just a lonely stretch of two-lane highway. Nothing there but gravel shoulders and the skeletal remains of an old way station that burned down a decade ago. You answer, out of protocol. Copy, en route. The static never stops. Your cruiser hums against the empty blacktop. The only light comes from your headlights, bouncing against fog that seems thicker than normal, like cotton soaked in shadow. The radio doesn't clarify, just hisses. You glance down at the dash, 12:07 a.m., and then a knock. You jerk your eyes to the rearview mirror. Nothing, another knock, louder, this time, from the back right passenger window. You're doing 60 miles per hour. There's no one outside the car, but there it is again. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. Knock, knock, knock. You slam the brakes. The cruiser skids slightly, tires whispering against the slick surface. The road is still empty. No tail lights, no pedestrians, no wildlife. Just fog and asphalt and the smell of something slightly burnt. You step out, flashlight drawn. The beam cuts through the mist like a knife through sleep. There's nothing behind the car, nothing on the shoulder, no signs of another vehicle. Crouch, check the trunk, the tires, under the frame, clean. But as you rise, you feel it, not air. Wait, something watching. Your breath fogs in front of you, twisting unnaturally, as if caught in a slow spiral before it vanishes. You scan the tree line, nothing, but then the way station appears in your beam. You weren't looking at it before. You didn't even think it still stood. But there it is, blackened, skeletal, roof caved in. The front desk somehow still upright. A chain swinging on a half-fallen beam like a pendulum, ticking off seconds that don't exist. You step toward it. Every footstep echoes like you're walking inside your own head. Knock, 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 again. But now from inside the ruin, you shine your light through the busted window. Nothing moves. Just scorched walls and an old rotary phone hanging from a melted wire. It rings. Your breath stutters. 1, ring, 2, 3. You step back, and then a voice answers your radio. But it's not. Dispatch. You came. The voice is wrong. Hollow, like a memory trapped inside a cassette tape left in the sun. You don't respond. Tell them I'm still here. It says, then the radio clicks. Dead. You return to the cruiser, cold now, despite the heater. You put it in gear, but your eyes flicker to the back seat. The window, your breath sticks in your throat. Condensation, someone's breath. On the inside, 3 finger trails drawn through it. Dragged slowly downward. Knock, knock, Knock. Again. But this time, you don't stop. You keep driving, back to the station, back to something solid. You don't file the report when asked. You say it was a false alarm. Fog, shadows, maybe wildlife. But later that week, when another officer takes that same stretch, they hear the knocks too, and then someone answers their radio with the same hollow voice. Tell them I'm still. Here, no one ever does, but the way station remains, waiting, and every now and then, after midnight, at mile marker 197, you'll hear it again. Knock, 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 knock. You're working the edge of the county again, miles from any real light, where the corn grows too high and the roads are barely paved. The radio's been quiet for over an hour, just the occasional crackle, and your coffee's gone cold. That's when the call comes in, distorted, muffled, a 911 hang-up. Coordinates place it along old Route 4, near the abandoned grain silos. You know the area. It's farmland, wide, empty. Nothing there but wind and corn. You respond anyway. As you pull onto the gravel road, the cruiser headlights sweep through rows of dense corn, bending slightly in the breeze. The wind doesn't whistle, it moans, like something old trying to remember its own voice. You stop near the silos. Step out. There's no farmhouse, no mailbox, no driveway, just the path, the kind that's not really a path, but the absence of crop where something once moved. You shined your flashlight down the furrow at first. Nothing, then movement. A figure, small white dress, just at the edge of visibility. You call out, "Sheriff's Department, are you okay?" She doesn't move. You walk forward slowly. The corn closes in behind you as you step deeper. The further you go, the quieter it gets. Even the crickets fall silent. You can still see her. She's barefoot, hair long, eyes down. You speak again, still nothing. Then you hear it behind you, footsteps. You spin. Light cuts across stalks, nothing. You turn back, and she's gone. You hurry forward to where she stood. The corn is crushed, pressed down. Something was here, but it's cold now. Too cold for summer. You radio in, but all you get is that whisper of static again, and a single word. Stay. You blink. Say again. No response. You return to the car. Close the door. Lock it without realizing. The screen on your dash glitches, just a flicker. Then back to normal. You put the cruiser in reverse, and that's when you see her again, standing in the beam of your brake lights, closer this time. Her face still down, hands limp at her sides, but now she's humming. Just 3 notes. Over and over, you shift into drive, and she vanishes. You pull away fast, too fast. Gravel kicks up behind the tires. You don't stop driving until you're 10 miles out, and the cornfield is far behind. Back at the station, you check the 911 logs. No call was made. No number, no record, just GPS coordinates, and a time stamp that matches. Later, an old deputy tells you the story. A girl disappeared near that silo 30 years ago. Found a week later, face down in the corn. No injuries, no signs of trauma. Just cold, frozen solid, in the middle of July. And every few years, she returns. Not for revenge, not for justice. Just to hum, 3 notes dot, over and over. You've been on the force long enough to know that most abandoned buildings don't stay quiet for long. The old schoolhouse out on Hemlock Ridge is one of those places. It's been shuttered since the late 80s, closed after a fire that started in the boiler room and swept the lower floor. No one rebuilt. No one bought the land. No one even painted over the smoke marks on the brick. But tonight, dispatch gets a call. Motion alarm triggered. No break-in, no smashed glass. Just movement inside. Your closest graveyard shift. No backup. Just you and the ghost of someone else's. Memories. You roll up around 1:15 a.m. The schoolhouse looks more like a mausoleum, now weathered stone. Vines up the walls, and windows too black to reflect your cruiser's lights. You step out, shine your flashlight through the broken front door. The beam catches old desks, a warped chalkboard, and dust hanging thick in the air. But in the dust, something moves. A streak, thin, fast, like someone ducked into a hallway. You call out, "Sheriff's Department." Come out slowly. No answer. You move inside. The air is colder than outside. Stale, but not musty. Just wrong. Every step echoes. Even your breath seems to bounce off the burned walls like it doesn't want to linger. You reach the main hallway. It splits left and right. You shine your light both ways. Then you hear it. A bell, faint, distant. It shouldn't work. The bell tower. Collapsed in the fire. But there it is, ringing once. Then again, you move toward it. Your boots crunch on broken tile. In one of the classrooms, the floor is half collapsed, and something scrawled on the wall in chalk still reads, "He watches," from the last row. You sweep the beam across the desks, and there back, right corner, a shadow. Not a person, a shape, as if someone's sitting in the last desk, perfectly still. You step closer, heart slow but heavy. When the light touches it, there's nothing there, just the chair, but it's warm. You place your hand on the wood. It's like someone sat there, just seconds before you arrived. The temperature drops, you exhale and see your own breath cloud. Then the bell rings again, once. Louder, the flashlight sputters, then stays, and in its flicker, the writing on the wall has changed. Now it reads, "You took too long." You back up slowly, then the lockers slam shuttle at once left and right. Down the hallway, like metal lungs exhaling, you run. You don't remember crossing the threshold, but you're back in the cruiser. Engine running, radio buzzing softly, no words. Just that low hum, that crackle, that whisper you can't quite decipher. The next day, you return. Bring a second deputy. The room is still there. The desk, the wall. But the message is gone, replaced by new chalk. "See you tonight." And on the floor, behind the last desk, a shoe print, child-sized, and still damp. You never return alone, but you never stop dreaming of it either. The bell, the desk, the name you never got to ask, and in every dream you wake just as the bell tolls, and the voice says, "It's nearly 3 a.m. You've been running empty for the last 20 minutes. Nothing on the radio. No cars on the road, not even the twitch of taillights far in the distance. Just you, the hum of your cruiser, and the mile markers slipping by. Like ghosts in the dark, you pull into the 24-hour gas station off Old County Route 11. It's one of those stations that shouldn't still exist, half the bulbs out. Dust in the vending machines, a cracked neon sign that flickers like it's remembering something. You cut the engine. Silence falls like a blanket inside. The station is still. One old guy behind the counter, flipping through a greasy paperback. His name tag reads, Paul, and his eyes don't quite meet yours. He doesn't say a word, just watches. You nod, head for the coffee machine. The pot's burnt, smells like someone poured despair into a filter and let it sit for hours. You pour anyway. Then the radio crackles. Unit 9, respond to possible disturbance. Coordinates incoming. Nearest landmark Cold Chapel Cemetery. You blink. That cemetery's been closed for 40 years. You tap your shoulder mic. 10 to 4, en route. But Paul speaks for the first time. You shouldn't go out there tonight. His voice is dry, croaky, like sandpaper dragged across old bones. You pause, cup in hand. Why not? He stares at you like you're already gone. Because she's out tonight. You don't ask who. You know you'll find out. You step outside. The wind's picked up. Dust swirls beneath the flickering overhang. You start the car. Drive slow. Route 11 disappears behind you, swallowed by the dark. You turn onto a dirt road. Pines close in around you, branches like claws. The moon's too low, too orange, and the clouds pass over it like they're trying to hide what's coming. Your headlights catch the rusted gate of the cemetery dot beyond it. Stones stand like crooked teeth, and fog curls along the ground like it's trying to rise. You park, step out. The second your boots hit gravel, your radio dies. No crackle, no hum, just nothing. Gravestones lean inward like they're listening. Some are broken, some are too clean. One looks freshly dug soil, loose and damp, like something was just pulled from it or climbed out. You hear breathing, not yours. You spin, nothing, but the fog moves. Like it's avoiding something. You move deeper in, toward the chapel. It's a ruin now, roof collapsed, door hanging by a thread of wood and rust dot inside. Something shines. You step in. It's a badge, not yours, not anyone's you've ever met. Tarnished, old, sheriff's star, maybe 1940s. Then a whisper, soft, female, you're late. You freeze, spin behind you. She stands, a woman in a deputy's uniform, but wrong. The fabric flickers like it can't decide if it's wet or scorched. Her face is half shadowed, half burned. Her eyes reflect no light. She doesn't move, doesn't blink. She says it again. You're late. Then pointed up behind her is a coffin, half buried. The lid open. You step closer. Against your will, inside is a uniform, just like yours, folded neatly, clean. Your badge number, your name, patch, your hat, then dash blackness. You wake up in your cruiser. Morning light stings. Your eyes, you're parked at the gas station again. Coffee cold in your lap. No sign of Paul, no one inside. And when you check your shoulder, your badge is gone. Only thing left is a voice on the wind that whispers. The night air feels off. It's supposed to be quiet out here, just stretches of empty desert highway between you and the next town. But as you drive, there's a pressure in your ears, like altitude sickness, or the silence right before a storm. The dispatcher's call was vague. Unmarked convoy. 3 vehicles, no tags. Moving slow, approaching Highway 16. No ID, no plates, all blacked out. You don't know why they routed it to you, but something in the dispatcher's voice wasn't normal. It was too calm, too flat. You squint into the distance, and then you see 3 matte black SUVs crawling across the highway like insects. No lights, no sound. You follow. The moment you merge behind them, your radio dies. Then your GPS. Then your engine. Dead. Dot. Everything. Dead dot. The SUV in front of you. Brake snow. Brake lights. Just slows. Then another. And another. They stop. All 3. Right there. On the open road. You unbuckle, stepping out into the desert cold. There's no wind, no sound, just the ticking of your engine as it cools. Then All 3 doors open at once, one from each vehicle. 3 figures step out. Same height, same build, same movement. You blink, they're closer now. You didn't see them move. You put your hand on your holster, but your hand feels slow, like the muscles aren't yours. The lead figure speaks, but you don't hear it. Not with your ears, it's in your mind. Like memory spoken backwards. Then a second voice, yours, speaks from somewhere far away. I'm already here. You freeze. The second SUV opens. You see yourself sitting in the driver's seat, face calm, eyes closed, hands folded, like you're waiting for something. You stumble back, but the third figure raises a hand, palm up, not threatening, and points to the sand behind you. You turn, and there, written in the dirt, are words you don't remember writing. Time doesn't pass here. You do. You run back to your cruiser. Start it somehow, it works. You speed away, heart hammering in your throat, radio screaming, static. You don't stop until the lights of the next town appear, and even then, you don't get out. Because in the rear view mirror, your reflection is still sitting in the back seat, smiling softly. You hear it whisper. You were just starting to settle into the quiet of the night shift when a call came in. A man's voice, calm, older, a little dry around the edges. There's someone trying to break into my shed, he said. You asked the usual questions. Name, address, description. He answered plainly. No urgency, no panic. Just matter, of fact. You dispatched a unit and stayed on the line until backup got there. Standard stuff. But when your partner arrived, there was no man, no shed, no house, just an open field and the rusted frame of a foundation. They called it in as a prank. An old property long since bulldozed. Nothing there but memories and weeds. You shook your head, logged the call, and went back to your coffee until the second call came. Same voice, same complaint. Someone's trying to break into my shed. Same address, same steady, quiet tone. You freeze. You double-check the call log. The address hadn't changed. The name hadn't changed. You ask, sir. We were just out there. There's nothing there. He sighs, gently. Then you weren't looking in the right place. And he hangs up. That's when you decide to go yourself. The night has that flatness to it. That sense of pressure in the air, like a closed space pretending to be open. You follow the same route your partner did, headlights stretching across empty fields. When you get there, it's all gone, but something feels wrong. Your eyes won't settle. The world flickers at the edges, like a TV losing signal. Then you hear it. A soft creak, like an old wooden door slowly closing. You step out of the cruiser and move toward the source. Nothing but field and shadow, but you see footprints, barefoot, deep, pressed into soft dirt. Fresh, you follow. They lead to nowhere. But as you kneel, you notice the scentwood smoke. Old metal, then you hear it again. The voice behind you. There's someone trying to break into my shed. You spin around. No one there, just your car. And behind it, a small structure. You swear it wasn't there before. Weathered boards, sagging tin roof. A single door, slightly ajar. The shed, you approach, slowly. Hand on your sidearm. Radio buzzing, useless static. You peek inside. Darkness, thick as smoke. But then your flashlight catches something, a chair. An old rotary phone, sitting on a barrel, and it's ringing. You pick it up. Hello. Silence. Then your own voice. Someone's trying to break into my shed. Click. The light cuts out. You step outside, heart pounding, and the shed is gone again. No footprint. No field. Just black road under stars, too bright to be real. Back in your cruiser, the dispatch line flickers to life. Unit 14, what's your status? You key the mic, I think. You whisper, staring at the seat beside you. I'm not. Alone, the passenger seat is empty, but it smells like wood smoke, and somewhere deep in the static, your own voice repeats, asterisk, the static never stops. The call came from a rural back road. No one drives unless they're lost or lying. Late fall, just before dawn. Your shift nearly over. A woman's voice, calm but tired, said she lived in a house by the cornfield. Said there were lights moving in the stalks, not flashlights, not car beams. She called them whispers in color. You didn't quite know what to make of that, but you were close, and dispatch had nothing else in the queue, so you turned off the highway. The road narrowed into cracked asphalt, littered with husks and crows. You passed rows of dry browning, cornty tall, too thick, the kind that swallows. Sound. When you found the house, it looked like it was holding its breath. A sagging porch, a single lamp in the window. But no woman. You radioed in. No response. You stepped out. The corn was whispering. You thought it was the wind, but it was saying your name, not shouting, not chanting, just ... repeating, soft, crooked, offbeat. You followed it, drawn like something pulling your chest forward from inside your bones. Each step into the corn made the world smaller, tighter. The house disappeared behind you like a dream, undone by light dot, and then you saw the first flicker. Not a flashlight, not even a lantern. It was more like static made visible, dancing colors, shimmering like heat waves on an old TV screen. It drifted through the stalks like it knew where you were. You chased it, not because you wanted to, because you had to. But the deeper in you went, the stranger it became. You found children's shoes, one set, then another, all pointing toward the light. You found a radio still playing, though the battery cover was gone. You heard laughter, not joyful, not cruel, just empty, like someone remembering what laughing used to feel like. The static grew louder, then came the voices. Your voice, not just calling your name, being your name. Every secret you never spoke, every fear you thought buried. You stumbled, the corn parted into a clearing, dead, center, a scarecrow. But it wasn't straw, it was uniform, police uniform, badge and all. And its face was yours, smiling, eyes closed, as if listening to something far away. You reached out, and it whispered, the static never stops. You ran, corn slicing at your arms, the path twisting underfoot. You burst into the clearing where the house should have been. But there was only open field, dawn, light, empty, cruiser, and a radio hissing softly with no signal. You reached in, turned it off, and when the static stopped, you realized it hadn't been coming from the radio. It was inside you now, inside your head, repeating, looping. The static never stops. You arrive at the gas station just before 3:30 a.m. Everything is still. The lot is empty, save for one silver sedan parked backward near pump 4. The engine's off, the lights are off, but the driver's side door is wide open. You announce your presence on the radio. Dispatch responds with that bored static you know too well. Caller said a man was loitering, walking in circles, not violent, just strange. You step out of your cruiser, The gas station fluorescents cast long shadows on the asphalt, each step echoing louder than it should. No attendant in sight. Store windows dark. You scan the car. There's a jacket in the front seat, a pair of glasses, one shoe, and the key still dangling in the ignition, but no driver. You circle the pumps, and that's when you notice him. A figure at the edge of the woods, not moving, not facing you. He's standing perfectly still, beneath the buzzing light pole at the far corner of the lot. You call out, "Sir." No response. He shifts slightly. Now his shoulders twitch. It's not nervousness. It's like he's sinking to something. You draw closer. Your boots scuff the gravel. The sound makes him flinch, but not turn. Instead, he speaks soft, raspy. "I've been waiting." You stop. "Are you okay?" He turns. Then slowly, like he's being wound from inside. His face is wrong. Not damaged, just unfocused. Like you're seeing a bad copy of a photograph. His features shift when you blink. Eyes change color. Cheeks deepen, narrow, widen. But his smile never moves. "I think I forgot something," he says. You nod. "What did you forget?" He looks down, then points behind you. You turn. Nothing, just the pumps, the car, the store. When you turn back, he's gone. No FOOTFALLS. No crunching gravel, just gone. Your hand moves to your shoulder. "Mike," you call it in. Subject vanished. Advise. But dispatch doesn't respond. Only static, thick, wet. You start back toward your car and freeze, because he's sitting in the passenger seat. Same warped face, same smile. You raise your weapon. He doesn't flinch. "Do you remember me now?" he asks. And then, "I wasn't there either." Then the world bends. The lights above you dim into deep red. The sky begins to churn. And that phrase rises from the corners of your mind. The static never stops. You blink. He's gone again. But the jacket in your front seat is folded. Your seatbelt is buckled. Your car clock reads 3:30. A.M. Exactly the moment you arrived. And your shoulder itches right where your badge used to be. But it's not there anymore. It's on the ground, still warm, still humming like it remembers a name that doesn't exist. Yours. You're sitting in the cruiser, engine idling, radio quiet. It's one of those nights when the moon's too bright, and yet somehow everything feels dim. You've driven the loop twice, already past the shuttered grocery store, past the blinking traffic light that never turns green, past the bridge with no water underneath. There's nothing out here, except the voice. It comes through the radio, not a call, not even a proper transmission, just your name, spoken like a whisper, dragged across gravel. You freeze. The mic's still on your shoulder, untouched. The dashboard reads to 12 a.m. Nobody should be on frequency. And yet again, your name, this time louder. "Officer," the voice is wrong. It's not dispatch. It's not your partner. It's not anyone you know. You respond cautiously. "Who is this?" Silence. Then, "I see you." You scan the road, the trees, the ditches, nothing, just shadows, and the occasional gust of wind. You check the call logs. No active dispatches, no calls in or out. Just that steady, impossible voice crackling across static. Then the radio cuts again, and it says something new, something impossible. It lists your address, your real address, not the station, not your patrol route, your home, where your kid sleeps, where the photo of your late mother hangs in the hallway. You slam the mic. Identify yourself. No answer. Instead, the lights on your cruiser flash. Once, twice, no. Hands on the controls. No override. Your engine stalls, and all at once, the air changes. It thickens. A scent, you know, but can't place, like antiseptic rust and the underside of hospital sheets. The kind of smell that only comes from long-forgotten rooms. Then headlights in the distance. A car approaches slow. Too slow, no make, no model. Just shape and light and a dark windshield. It stops across from you. You can't see a driver. Can't make out anything past the glare. But you hear your name again this time. From inside your own cruiser, behind you. You turn. No one. Just your empty back seat. And a receipt lying flat on the cushion. It reads, "You shouldn't have answered." And below that, a date. Today's date, but next to it a time. 2:13 A.M. And your dash clock just turned to it. The headlights vanish. No engine sound. No tire marks. Nothing. You reach for your radio again, and this time you speak your own name, just to make sure it still belongs to you. But all that comes back is static, and in that static faint, distant a child's voice whispering. The static never stops, and you realize that wasn't your name. Not anymore, because someone else is riding your route now, and they remember it better than you do. You're deep into the shift, 4 hours from dawn, 7 cups of burnt station coffee in, and 1 bar left on your radio. The air is thick, the kind of late-night humidity that clings to your skin like guilt. You're parked outside a decaying duplex off Millstone Drive, responding to a routine call, suspicious person knocking at random doors. Nothing urgent, no weapons, no screams, just someone unsettling. You're about to leave when dispatch comes through with one more detail. The caller said he knocked 5 times, but when they looked, no one was there. You take that in, and then, like something choreographed with the wind, it starts. Knock, 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 5 exactly. On your cruiser window, you whip around, hand instinctively to your sidearm. But the window's clear, clean, no smudge, no handprint, and no one on the other side. The streets, still no cars, no porch lights, just rows of tired homes, their windows closed like eyes pretending to sleep. You exhale slowly and step out. Gravel crunches under your boots. The radio crackles. Then silence. And then a voice. Wrong house. You stop. No one around. You call it in. Nothing unusual on dispatch. They tell you to check the block, do a quick drive-by, and call it clear. You do the drive. House 1, porch light swinging in the wind. House 2, mailbox open, stuffed with unread letters. House 3, the lights flicker, then die the second you roll. Past, you pause, double back, still dead. Then you see it. House 4, there's someone standing at the door. Man, tall, still, no flashlight, no movement, just facing the door as if he belongs there. You slow the cruiser, flick your high beams on. The figure doesn't react. You step out, approach cautiously, sir. You call out, no response. Double quotes, sir, this is law enforcement. I need you to turn around. Still nothing. You get closer, within 20 feet, and that's when you realize something's off. His clothes are too clean, pressed, dated, like they're from a different era. And then, the door he's facing opens by itself softly, creaking. He doesn't go in. Instead, he turns around slowly, and you freeze. His face, there isn't one, no features, just smooth, pale skin stretched across a skull. But you recognize something. The stance, the shape. It looks like you. Your height, your posture. You stumble backward, unholster instinctively. Your radio hisses. Wrong house, the voice says. Again, and the figure starts walking toward. You, not fast, not aggressive, just direct. You shout, command, warn. It doesn't stop. You shine your flashlight, no shadow behind him, and then, just 10 feet from you, he lifts his hand and knocks 5 times. On air, no wall, no door, just empty space, and the sound is real. Knock, 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 knock. Your flashlight flickers, then dies. You pull your sidearm, blink, he's gone. But the house, the one he was at, still has its door open, and there's light inside now. You approach, against better judgment. You reach the porch. Inside is a hallway, empty. A photo frame hangs, crooked on the wall. You step in. It's a black and white photo of someone in uniform. Your uniform. Your badge number, but the nameplate says R. Jameson. That's not you. You look down at your own badge. It says Jameson, and for a second, just one blip in your brain, you don't remember ever being called anything else. Then the knocking begins again, this time behind you. You spin around. The door's closed. You never heard it shut. Then you feel it. Cold breath on your neck, and a whisper so faint it barely exists. You knocked first. You run out. Back to the cruiser you drive, and every time you pass a house, the porch light turns off. One by one, you call dispatch again. This is 12 to 4. I need a unit to check millstone. Possible impersonator. Static dot, then a reply. There's no millstone in your zone. 12-4. You pause. You've patrolled that street for years. You know it exists. You were just there. There's no millstone. Drive on file. Do you copy? You check your GPS. You're on Hollow Bend Lane. Your cruiser dashboard glitches, dash reboots. No map, no name. You're alone, and on the window. Again knock, 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 knock. You don't look. You just drive and whisper to yourself. The static never stops. Because you know, now sometimes, the call isn't coming to the house. It's coming from the door itself, and it knows exactly who to knock for. You arrive at the precinct 10 minutes early, not because you're eager, not because you slept well the night before, not even because you're hoping for an easy shift. No, you show up early because something inside you has shifted, something subtle yet permanent, like the way a crooked picture frame slowly pulls to one side. You can't name the feeling exactly, but it's there. It started a few weeks ago. A creeping unease that lingers in the corners of your vision. Calls that don't make sense. Dispatches that crackle with interference. Roads that loop back around when they shouldn't. You thought it was burnout at first. Night shifts catching up to you, but now it's something else. You're not alone either in the locker room. You notice it on the faces of your co-workers, dark circles under their eyes, a weight behind their smiles. Conversations trail off more often now. People pause in the middle of sentences, as if forgetting where they are, or who they are. Tonight feels different, though, like an ending, but also a beginning. The radio crackles before you've even zipped your vest. Unit 14. Report of trespassing at 777 Greywater Lane. Caller disconnected. No callback. Code 3. Greywater Lane. You know the address, everyone does. It's a condemned boarding house on the edge of the old forest. Empty for years. Or supposed to be. You don't speak as you grab the keys. No banter. No back and forth about the call. You just drive. The city fades quickly behind you, replaced by hollowed-out roads and mist. You realize you've turned. Off the music without thinking. Only the engine hum remains. And the static dot. Always the static dot. You reach the property just after midnight. Exactly, you note the time without knowing why. Midnight, the final hour of the final shift. The house waits. In silhouette 3 stories of rotting wood and broken windows. Its shape cuts against the fog like a wound. The porch slants inward like a mouth half open. Your flashlight flickers the moment it hits the steps. You step out. The gravel crunches. The air smells like wet ash and mold. The door creaks open on its own. You hesitate. Not out of fear, because you passed fear long ago. This is something else. Something deeper. A hollowing in your chest. A sensation like falling in slow motion. Inside, the air is heavy. Not just musty. It's thick. Like walking through a dream underwater. Dust floats in beams of your flashlight. But it's not dust. It moves. It reacts to you. You call out police. Make yourself known, but your voice sounds wrong. Too loud, too far away, as if someone else is saying it through your mouth. No answer, just the creak of old wood beneath. Your boots, and that hum again, faint, vibrating in the walls. You check the first floor, room by room, empty. Abandoned furniture, a fireplace filled with ash. Half-burned newspapers, dated 1979. There's a calendar on the wall, still turned to October. Halloween circled, but not the year, just the date. October 31st. You radio in, but all you hear is static. You repeat nothing. You turn to leave, but the front door is gone. Not just closed, gone. A blank wall where it should be. You spin around. The house hasn't changed, but it has. The light doesn't reach as far now. The rooms seem deeper. The shadows thicker. Your breath shows in the air. You try the hallway, then the kitchen, then the stairs. Each step creaks louder than it should. The second floor is colder. The wallpaper peels like old skin. You see photos nailed into the hallway, portraits of families, but their faces are blurred, smeared with something dark. Not ink, not dust, more like time or memory. Your radio chirps. One long burst of static, and a voice you recognize. But it's not dispatched, it's your own saying your name. Over and over again, you freeze. The flashlight dims. You slap it. It dies completely. Now, only red and blue pulses leak in from the cruiser outside. But they don't flash right. The rhythm is wrong. Like a heartbeat with arrhythmia. Then, footsteps above you, deliberate. Not scurrying, not animal, human. You draw your weapon. Announce again, police. But it's quieter now. The walls absorb sound, your breath, your thoughts. You climb the next staircase. The third floor is barely more than an attic. Slanted ceilings. A single hallway with 3 doors. You check the first dot. Nothing, dot. The second dot. Empty dot. The third you freeze before you touch the knob, because you hear. Breathing dot on the other side. Slow, steady. Familiar dot. You press your ear to the door. The breathing stops then. A voice, yours again, whispering, but not words, just sounds. A loop of your own panic. You turn the knob slowly. The door opens, and inside you, see yourself, sitting in uniform, back turned, watching an old TV set that flickers with static. You speak, it doesn't turn. You step closer, you reach out. Its head turns. It's you, but older, exhausted, eyes hollow, mouth trembling. It says one thing: you never left. Then the screen explodes with light. Your vision shatters, and you're standing back in the first floor hallway. Outside, the door still open. The cruiser's headlights cutting through the mist, but everything feels changed. You step out. Your boots crunch gravel. You look at your hands. They're older, not by years, but decades. The radio chirps again. Unit 14, you there? You respond, but your voice doesn't transmit. And in the rearview mirror of the cruiser, you see the house behind you. But it's not there, just trees. And in the tree line, figures watching, motionless, endless, a sea of them. You blink, they vanish. You turn the key. The engine roars to life. You check the clock, still midnight, still the final shift. And as you drive, you hear the voice again, not from the radio, from the back seat, your own voice, saying, the static never stops. And you don't dare look back, because you know what you'll see. You've always known, and now the road finally stills. You've walked long corridors tonight, corridors of ice and flame, of memory and forgetting. You've turned down lonely highways under moonless skies. You've held your breath through creaking doors, sat in the hush of empty dispatch rooms, and stared at shadows that didn't blink. You've been the officer stepping into a call with nothing but a flashlight and a name on a report. You've been the one who hears something moving in the dark, but can't quite prove it. You've been the voice on the radio, the echo in the stairwell, the reflection in the glass that didn't move when you did. And now, it's time to rest. There's something peculiar about the night shift. It changes. You, not in big ways, not all at once, but slowly, softly, like the hum behind a wall you didn't notice was always there. You start to remember calls that never happened. You recall reports that don't exist. You recognize faces you know you've never seen, but they feel familiar anyway. And somewhere between the crackle of static and the rustle of wind through an open car window, you begin to feel it. The shift isn't just hours on a clock, it's a liminal space, a place between what is and what might be, a veil stretched thin by repetition, fatigue, and things left unsaid. And when you stare at that veil long enough, when the sirens fade and the roads are empty sometimes, you catch glimpses, not ghosts, exactly, not monsters either, just echoes, flickers of something just out of frame, moments caught in time, repeating again and again, for someone else, somewhere else. And maybe that's the truth of it, that all these stories we've told tonight, they're not just calls, they're not just cases, they're recordings, residues, whispers burned into the atmosphere of the midnight. Our places where something went wrong, places where something couldn't leave, and somehow when we tell them, when we listen to them, we carry them forward. Not to remember in fear, but to remember, period. Because forgetting means the stories stop existing, and some things shouldn't be lost. Some shifts never truly end. They just wait for the next officer to answer the call, the next voice to break the silence, the next set of footsteps on a cold floor. Maybe that's you, maybe it's already begun, but you don't need to fear that, because you're not alone here. There are others who walk this road. Others who've heard the static. Others who've seen things flicker at the edge of their headlights and kept driving anyway. You're among them now, a quiet community of night watchers, of dreamers, of listeners somewhere out there. Another story is unfolding. Another light just blinked on in a house that should be dark. Another cruiser just rolled to a stop in front of a place that doesn't show up on the maps anymore. And maybe, just maybe, someone else is listening to this same voice right now, feeling the same weight in their chest, the same hush in their bones, the same lingering chill that says, something's not quite right to them. Whoever they are, leave, the light on, leave, the story open, because we don't always need answers. Sometimes all we need is to know we're not alone in the static, that someone else has walked this same road, that someone else understands. And you do, don't you? You've made it through the whole shift. You've felt the cold creep in around the edges. You've seen what waits in the rear view. You've kept listening, even when it got quiet, especially when it got quiet. That's when the real stories emerge, not in sirens, not in screams, but in the hush, in the sigh of an engine gone still, in the way a door creaks closed, even though no one ever opened it. You've been brave tonight, brave enough to follow the voices, brave enough to let the static settle over you. Now, let it carry you to sleep. Let the stories fade like headlights disappearing around a midnight bend. Let the silence return, because this shift is over, but the next one, it's already waiting. So rest now, officer, you've earned it, and when you wake, if you remember the stories, good. And if you don't, that's fine too, because somewhere deep beneath the city, beneath the snow, beneath time itself, they're still playing, still repeating, still whispering your name, because the static never stops. Good night, night.